Well, Chelsea have been 2-1 winners against Newcastle at the Stamford Bridge, and after losing to Liverpool the past weekend, they obviously come up and obviously collected themselves, getting a win at the Stamford Bridge as they prepare to play against Manchester United next weekend. Welcome to this channel. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on the stories that we do upload in here on a day. Look at Chelsea and really feel a little bit for them because they played Chelsea, they've played Newcastle, they are playing Man United next at Old Trafford, and they're going to be hosting Arsenal the other weekend before we go to the international break. So it is really some super football for Chelsea, and it's really a very huge test for them. But I think they have enough quality that can obviously see themselves really go past such a temptation into this kind of manner. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on the stories that we do upload in here on a daily. We are powered by Mono Gadgets, and if at all you need a brand new phone and a brand new laptop, go ahead and obviously call them onto +256 70 99 665. And even though you've gone ahead obviously find yourself in a situation of really needing a used phone and a used laptop, call them on that number because for them they have used phones from the United Kingdom, not from Kampala, Uganda. So you know what happens in those Western world, people don't really use those gadgets a lot. 1 year they take back the phone and they obviously do a top up and they obviously get them a new gadget. So those phones are really very reliable, so you can really get in one. Now it was Nicholas Jackson the 18th minute, Pedro Neto the assist, but what is really going to be memorable about that first goal that Chelsea scores is that Carl Palmer pass. You know, that pass that really wanted to split that high line of Newcastle to find Pedro Neto, and Pedro Neto did a square to find Nicholas Jackson, and Nicholas Jackson did nothing else apart from really putting that ball in the back of the net to make it 1-0 in the 18th minute. Alexandra Isak went ahead to obviously put the ball in the back of the net in the 32nd minute. Those are 14 minutes later, and in the second half, 2 minutes in, Carl Palmer went ahead to obviously put Chelsea into the lead. And for me, Carl Palmer, guys, if we are to talk about Carl Palmer, we can talk about him till kingdom come because the guy is that good. I tell you, the guy is that good. And every time I look at him, I'm like, how did Pep really miss out on a player like this to go, you know? And I think everywhere Man City fans are, they're like, we missed out on a talent. But everywhere the board of Man City is, they're like, obviously, we sold him for the right price because for a player who came in from the academy to go out for £45 million without playing a full season at Man City to prove himself, I tell you, that means they had a very good scouting system that went ahead to scout Carl Palmer at the side of Man City. So Carl Palmer so far has 7 goals and 5 assists in 9 games. You know, those are 12 goal involvements. And last season he scored 22 goals in 33 games. And here he comes to obviously have a deficit of 15 to obviously match the number of Premier League goals he scored last season. And remember, he is still he's still 22 years of age. That is Carl Palmer for you. So that is how brilliant this boy is going to be, and what he's putting out on the field of play is really immense, that Chelsea fans are like, we need to obviously give him his flowers. And I tell you, he's the next star in the making. And some people are looking at maybe Mbappe, Erling Haaland to win the Ballon d'Or, but I'm telling you, put your eyes onto this boy. He's young, he has started to do things at a higher level, and all he needs to see to it is that his Chelsea team gets into the Champions League. And when Chelsea gets the Champions League, if they happen to nab one into end of the seasons, and England can also perform well into the internationals, and Carl Palmer, I tell you, he's really going to be getting to the team of Thomas Tuchel because of how he's really performing. They don't have a better central attacking midfielder than Carl Palmer. I tell you, England has 2 special players. They don't have a player that plays like Kobe Mainoo, and they don't have a player that is like Carl Palmer. And for any manager who will come in through and obviously integrate those 2 players in the same team, I tell you what, it's really gonna be blossoming for the side of England. That's why I tell you, I see Declan Rice, Kobe Mainoo in the double pivot, then Carl Palmer to be played as a central attacking midfielder in the system of Thomas Tuchel, with Saka playing as a right forward, and anyone who plays as a left forward. You get? But all in all, it's really going to be very important for the side of England to obviously have this guy on, because he creates moments of magic. And every time you look at him and how obviously come up and obviously puts in a shift, he really scores goals that you think are really hard and he makes them look easy. That is Carl Palmer for you, and he's not really stopping. But for the entire Chelsea side, I'd like to obviously big up their manager to obviously come back from what was what we call a very, 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 very bad defeat against Liverpool. You understand? And they came back and they played with composure. They obviously understood the assignment on the day at Stamford Bridge, and they went ahead to obviously win that beautiful game of football. So Carl Palmer is really putting in a shift, and no one is really stopping him from obviously doing what Carl Palmer does. Let's go to the stats and see how everything we went ahead to pan out before we obviously talk a little bit of Newcastle and what it means for Eddie Hoy to obviously come up and obviously lose such a kind of game into the mix. So 17 shots by Chelsea, 11 by Newcastle, 7 shots on target by Chelsea, 3 on target by Newcastle, 52% ball possession by Chelsea. Newcastle had 48% ball possession, 458 passes completed by Chelsea, 436 passes completed by Newcastle, 84% passing accuracy by Chelsea. Newcastle had 79% passing accuracy, 13 fouls by Chelsea, 16 fouls by Newcastle, 6 yellow cards to Chelsea and 3 yellow cards to Newcastle. 0 red cards to either sides, 2 offsides to Chelsea, 1 offside to Newcastle, then 7 corners to Chelsea and 4 corners to Newcastle. Now, for the side of Newcastle, all they have to understand is that Eddie Hoy is really going through a very bad period of time. You understand? He has come up and obviously find himself really losing out on another game, and I think pressure is really mounting. But what really puts his game in a safe mode is who is there to obviously come up and lift up this Newcastle team, as in I'm talking about the replacements as managers, because he is really one of those that has found himself in a position of really putting in a very good shift altogether. And I mean in the first season, but right now he has found himself really struggling, and I think in such performances for the side of Newcastle, I think this is where pressure mounts onto the manager and maybe Alexandra Isak. And this is where those two players, Bruno Guimaraes and Alexandra Isak really start to think about their next place to play, because teams are really going to be putting huge money onto them to spend, onto them to see to either obviously come up and obviously put in a shift into the clubs like Man City. I tell you, teams like Arsenal, teams like Man United, teams like Liverpool, teams like Man City will obviously come up and obviously put in a very huge shift, obviously sign Bruno Guimaraes. Teams like Barcelona might obviously come up and really put in a very huge shift. I was really looking at the Carl Palmer goal. Guys, he went ahead obviously steal the ball just like 2, 3, 4 meters from the center line, and he went ahead to dribble and went ahead to hit that ball in the back of the net. Carl Palmer is a generational talent, and remember his name. Remember when I saw him play, I told you how good this player is, and for me, composure comes in after talent, and consistency is the box that this guy is really taking. And if he keeps going to this level, I tell you, he's really gonna frustrate very many teams. Now, for Man City, let's look at the table. Man City is on top of the table. Man City is on top of the Premier League table with 23 points. Liverpool is obviously second with 21 points because Arsenal is leading by 2-1. Arsenal is a third with 20 points. Aston Villa is fourth with 18 points. Chelsea is now fifth with 17 points. Brighton is having 16. Nottingham is having 16. Tottenham is having 13. Brentford is having 13. And Fulham is having 12. Those are the number of points that have gone ahead, obviously, put in a very huge shift altogether. So we call upon for your reactions into the comment section below, and that's how the table is really looking. And for Chelsea and their next fixtures, obviously, they are playing against Man United. You get? in the Premier League. You know, in the Carabao Cup, they're going to be playing away at Newcastle. You get on Wednesday. And on Sunday, they'll play away at Old Trafford. Then they'll play in the UEFA Conference League, playing Noah. And then they'll obviously have to summarize it up with Arsenal as we get into another international break. So the next three fixtures, the next two fixtures, it's Man United away and Arsenal at the side of Stamford Bridge. That's why I told you that Chelsea are really having hard fixtures. And if at all they can really go ahead and obviously get in more results from these two fixtures, then a lot will speak volumes into what we want to hear. So guys, I sign out for now. See you later. Let me get into the second half of Liverpool versus Arsenal and see how things are really panning out. It's Mikel Merino and Bukayo Saka. I'm out. 5 fingers to those swinging through. Continue to subscribe. We out.